Good morning, everyone, and welcome to St. Petersburg Global Ministries. This is Pastor Diane Whitbush, your host. And so last week, we did not have morning manna, okay? But we're back today at 8 o'clock doing morning manna. We're kind of switching up between the 4:30 hour and the 8 o'clock hour. We're kind of seeing which one is going to be more beneficial to us as well as to you as well. And so, yeah, we had a um, I think it was some issues that may have came up last week, and so we was not on it, morning manna. So, nevertheless, we thank you for tuning in with us on today. Thank you for being our guests for Bible study, and we're going to be picking it up from Genesis 18. But before we do that, of course, we always want to be able to lift up uh, those that need our prayer, those that need our us to ask God, petition God on their behalf. And so today, of course, we're always in continuation of being in prayer for the war with the Ukrainians and with the Russia and the Ukrainians, and that God will bring a solution to the situation and to the chaos that is going on between both of the countries. Um, We also want to be praying for um, the gentleman that was shot, I think, like 60 times. Um, Forgot his name. Let me see if I can find his name real quick. But we want to be in prayer for him and his family. Um, that the Lord will be with them, and then also we want to pray for that the facts are brought out in that case. Um, that that we have understanding as to what's going on in regards to their case, and what happened um, in regards to the gentleman who lost his life, because I'm going to say this: everyone needs our prayers. Everyone needs our prayers. So his name is, this is not the this is not the we want to get his name, so we want to lift his name up in regards to Jalen Walker. That's exactly what his name is. It's Jalen Walker. So we want to be in prayer for his family. We want to be in prayer for the police officers that are on administrative leave. When we are saved in God, God will never allow for us to be partial to others. So while we're praying for one, we have to always pray for the other. I learned also today, when a couple of days ago, some hair in my face is agitating me. I learned a couple of days ago that they also found the indictment that was hidden for the individuals in the case regarding Emmett Till. Emmett Till was the African American young man, 14 years old, visiting his grandparents or something like that, relatives in Mississippi, and he came from the state of Chicago. And so he was, of course, beaten and ridiculed. This has been probably about 50, 60, 70 years ago when this happened. But at the same time, the family have found some information and some documents in the court where there were some warrants that were um, um, released, but they were not served. So we're still praying for that family, and still we also pray for the lady who's in the middle of this investigation, um, who brought the charges or the accusations upon Emmett Till. So we want to be in prayer for both sides of the family. We're in prayer for her as well as the family of Emmett Till as well, because we just don't know what people are going through. We don't know what they're up against. We don't know what they're, you know, what what's leading certain things in a certain way, and so we just give it all to God. We give it to God, whatever it is. We just turn it over to Him and let Him um, fix the heart, fix the pain, fix the wounds. Let him deliver the pain. Let him deliver the wounds from both sides of the family. I think they're looking for her to be arrested too, because I think it was some sort of an indictment against her as well. So we want to be praying. There's a lot of things that are going on in the heart of the earth. We want to be also praying for these mass shootings that are going on. That the Lord will bring about a better resolution in our legislature. In regards to weapons, firearms, and we have the the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, where we have the right to bear arms. It's the Second Amendment. It's just sometimes we may have some issues where people may not use the right discretion when they have those rights. So we want to be praying for those. We're not here to do any judging. We're still here to lift up the family members that are left behind in the Uvalde crisis in Texas, where the mass shooting was going on with the at the school, and so many children passed away with two teachers, and also those that were gunned down at the supermarket massacre. We want to be in prayer for those as well. We have to be in prayer. There is a lot of church um, 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 massacres that are going on, and we want to bring these things to God and talk to God about them and to ask Him to heal, forgive, and also set free. Okay, we have to be in total agreement with that. So we want to be in prayer for those that have lost so many this year through mass gun shootings. And then we want to be praying for those that perhaps may have done the shooting. We cannot be partial. God has no respect of persons. We have to let Him do the vindicating and the judging. And then what we do, we go in prayer, okay, for that individual. And so we thank God for allowing the gas prices to decrease, of course. And then, a lot of times people say, well, that's not, 4 or 5 pennies is not a lot, but yes, it is too. Pennies add up when you're pumping gallons. So we're thankful to God that He's allowing the oil to go down, the prices on the barrel to go down, and also that we may have a relief at the pump, okay, when we're pumping our gas, so we can be able to, do the daily activities or weekly activities that we have to do. We want to be able to do that. We had a wonderful time. Our ministry sponsored a senior health fair expo, and this was in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. It was great. Everything turned out so wonderful and so great. And so our purpose for that was to be able to bring resources to our communities. A lot of times when it comes to seniors and certain cultures, of seniors. Some people may be fearful of going to the doctor. They may not want to go to the doctor. They may be afraid of what the doctor's going to say. So sometimes we have to do something where we can be able to bring the knowledge, the information, let them get their blood pressure checked, to let them get their sugar checked, let them get things checked that they may need, that they may overlooked or what have you, because a lot of times as I stated at the top of the hour, people are going through things. It's kind of getting a little difficult for seniors. So we have to be praying for the Medicare, and we have to be praying for the retirement fund, that God will add and increase those areas so the seniors can be able to have more, so they can be able to make a decision. Well, I don't, I can buy grocery this month, and I can pay my medicine, get my medicine this month too. Some seniors cannot get their medicines for the month because they have to buy grocery, and the next month they have to buy grocery and they cannot get their medicine. No one should be in that type of situation. We are in the land of the free, okay? The United States is the land of the free, and there are other countries also where they, are free as well. And so I also want to do a shout out for my new group that joins me every time that I'm on Facebook, and they're from the Philippines, and I want to do a shout out to them on Facebook. Thank you so much for your support, for your affirmations. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for hearing, and for the other audiences that are coming. I thank you for that too in advance. And so, because people need God, we don't beat them down and tell them what they got to do. We don't beat them down and tell them that they have to, they don't have to, people don't have to do anything. Our job is to encourage them, though, so they can be able to have a better Christian life, better walk with God, and a better understanding of who God is. Okay, so we want to be praying for that. And then, of course, all other catastrophic events that go on around the world, we want to also continue to be in prayer for that. Areas like Sudan, where there's a lot of hunger in Ethiopia, Cambodia. There's a lot of things that are going on, a lot of deficiencies that are going on around the world. And so we want to be in prayer for those individuals, praying that God will do the impossible that has never, thank you, God, that has never been done. Come on here. That has never been done. And of course, we also thank God for overturning the Roe v. Wade. We do. We thank God for overturning that. Um, we just we pray for both sides of the agenda, both sides of the agenda. We pray for the women that cannot no longer be able to get an abortion, and we pray for those that are against abortion. So a lot of times when we have generalities, we have to be careful of our opinions. I'm learning that as well. We have to be careful of our opinions. When we have different opinions about different views, we want to be in prayer for everybody. Because my thing was, I told God, I said, well, you know, in our religion, in our culture, and according to the Bible, we don't believe in, abortion. But at the same time, my heart is in a compassion, compassionate phase for those women who cannot have an abortion because they have been impregnated by their family member or someone that have raped them. I mean, that's kind of borderline of the fence. I'm serious. That's kind of borderline of the fence. Nobody wants to carry a baby that is not theirs, or someone has raped them, or someone has HIV, or someone has forced them to have intercourse with them. And nobody would want to do that. And so we have to pray and ask God to reduce and stop the rape, stop the incest, okay? So these women can be able to have some relief. So they can be able to have some relief. So we have next, I think it's Thursday of this week, we have Kendra Y. Hill that will be on the Christian Women Empowerment show. And she's a big digital marketing brander. She's a brand management. She's been with Forbes and all types of other top corporate level entities, and she will be with us on Thursday, and that's going to be at 8:30. She'll be with us from 8:30 to 10 o'clock, if I'm not if I'm not mistaken. And so her thing is, she's going to be coming talking to us about when God goes silent. Okay, when God goes silent. And so that's going to be awesome. I'm going to have my ears tuned in just to see what I can be able to see, get from God, from her. And so she will be with us on that Thursday. So keep that in mind. Thursday, I think it's July the 7th. She will be with us, is our guest on the Christian, and it's going to be video, and it's going to be live, and it's going to be on Zoom. So you'll have to contact me in order to get the link, because we want to make sure that our presentations remain professional. We don't like our screen obliviated with a lot of people, and people, don't have their cameras on, and there's some people are laying down, some people still have not gotten up, and they're on a live camera. You can't, be able to do ministry or business like that. Things have to be presentable and professional. Okay, and so that's the reason why a lot of times I don't give out the link, simply because of the fact when it comes to the video, everybody sees things differently. And so on this broadcast and any broadcast that I have, I try to maintain a professional image on the broadcast to make sure that it is professional so I can be able to air it somewhere else on a different type of platform for viewing. Okay. So today we're going to be talking in the book of Genesis, and still in Genesis chapter 18. You know, we talked about the revocation of disobedience, and then we went back to Genesis a couple of weeks ago, and in Genesis 17. So today we'll be in Genesis chapter 18, and I'm coming out of the King James Version Bible, and we're going to start with verse 1. So it says, "And the Lord appeared unto him who is Abraham in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day." Verse 2 says, "And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself towards the ground." So here's Abraham giving reverence to some men that are coming up to talk with him. Verse 3 says, "And said, My Lord," this is Abraham saying, "My Lord, if I have found favor in my sight, pass not away. I pray not," meaning don't pass me by or don't pass by my tent. Stay with me. Okay. "I pray thee from thy servant." Verse 4 says, and taking notation that he's calling these men my Lord, but he did not know these men, period. He didn't know them. Okay. So verse 4 says, "Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree." So it was a custom for men and women back in the Bible to walk a lot. There were donkeys and there were chariots and different things, or horses that people rode on, but everybody didn't have a horse, and everyone did not use a horse. So when you went to your next destination by foot, your feet was dirty because people had on sandals back then, or they perhaps maybe had on some other substance of type of shoe, but it still collected dust. So they washed their feet. When a person washed your feet back in the biblical times, that means I receive you into my camp, my city, my town, my providence, my state. Verse 5, "And I will teach, and I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on." Mean you can move on after I done washed your feet and gave you something to eat. So back then that was just like a person welcoming them into their area, their location. Okay. "Therefore are ye come to your servant." And they said, "Do so, and as thou hast said." Verse 6, "And Abraham hastened," meaning he got up quickly, "unto the tent, unto Sarah, and said, Make ready quick 3 measures of fine meal, kneaded, and make cakes upon the hearth." So that's what we, you know, some people eat it and some people don't eat it today. But meal cakes were something like, you can call them bread fritters or pancake fritters. When we were little, our grandmother would make regular pancakes and she would make meal pancakes. So the meal pancakes was made out of meal, eggs, and milk, or if it was buttermilk, and then you cooked it just like a regular pancake. And then once you put it on the skillet, you poured syrup over the meal pancake. So this is what they ate. And then too, it can be also considered as what some individuals eat in their custom area, and we used to call it when we were children, hot water cornbread. And so hot water cornbread was with just meal, and then you took the hot water and sprinkle over it until it became a firm type of cake. And then you fried it in the skillet and you ate it with peas, black-eyed peas, purple hull peas, greens, things like that. Soul food type of cooking. So this is what he was telling her to make. Okay. Verse 7 says, and it wasn't the type of, and when they said kneading it and what have you, rolling it out on a biscuit board or something like that. See, back in the day, they had to manually um, roll and whip and beat their flours and pancakes and all of these other stuff and these regular cakes, because they did not have the utensils like we have today, where we can use a mixing bowl, mixing tools, and then we have the egg beater, where some people, I used to see my grandmother have the egg beater, and she would whip it with the egg beater. She would whip it sometimes with a spatula and even with a fork. Okay, and it still came out smooth. So in the purpose of kneading it is so it can take out all the lumps. Okay, and so that's what he was telling his wife: make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. Okay, and Abraham, verse 7, ran unto the herd and fetched a calf tender. So he's going to his cattle, getting a calf that is in good condition, and gave it unto a young man, and he hasted to dressing it, meaning he took whatever it was. If it was a lamb, they went in there and they sheared it, cut it all the way down, shaved it all the way down, killed the whatever. This was a calf, so he went in there like a cow, basically. So the reason why they chose a kid, they called it a kid, meaning that was a calf, or that was a kid goat, or a calf goat, or calf cow, and what have you. They chose those because they were just still tender. The meat probably was real, still fresh and soft, versus the grown cows and bulls and what have you and stuff. They probably had a little tough hide on them, and probably had to take longer to be able to fix. So when you got the kid that didn't have is a whole lot of hair and all of that stuff. See, they had to take all of that off. They had to, shave all of it off, kill it, and what have you. And so they was going to get ready to sit down and eat. Verse 8, and he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them, and he stood by them, dressed it, meaning he cooked it, baked it, fried it, roasted it, whatever that they did, because I think even back then they were still frying things just like we fry today. They were still roasting things just like we roasted today. They were just roasting it and frying it and cooking it in a different way. Okay, and he took butter and milk and the calf which he had dressed, and set it before them. Hope you're pleased. And he stood by them under the tree, and they did eat. Okay, so he had dinner with these guys. He invited them into his home, and he sat down and he broke bread with them. Verse 9 says, and they said unto him, where is Sarah, thy wife? And he said, behold, in the tent. Okay, verse 10 says, and he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent which was behind him. Okay, now Abraham, verse 11, and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. So meaning she was not, having women things that women have today. She was not having monthly occurrences like women have today. Neither was she having things like, some women have, like what you call hot flashes and stuff like that when they get in their 50s and 60s. All of that was over with. Okay? So verse 12 says, therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord? Being old, also old, meaning having, pleasure with her husband. Verse 13 says, and the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Now, I want to stop right there. Now, we read in the scripture before, I think it was maybe chapter 14 or 15, where when God had went in there and he had told Abraham and revealed to Abraham first that Sarah was going to have a son unto him, bear a son unto him. And he was the first one. He laughed before Sarah did. Okay. That's something that we really don't discuss that thoroughly in Christian ministry. We always talked about Sarah was the one that was in doubt, but he was also in doubt too, because God brought the revelation to him first. Okay, and when God brought the revelation to him first, the Bible says he laughed. So he laughed, and now here she is in belief, which you would be in belief, and I would be in belief as well. If God come in and tell us something like that, we're gonna have a baby, and we're almost 2,000 years old. I'm just playing. They was in their 90s. But it was just a figure of speech, 2,000. So, verse 14, it says, is anything too hard for the Lord? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid, and she said, Nay. And he said, Nay, but you did laugh. So here's Sarah telling the men that came to speak with, uh, that Abraham had prepared the calf for, and the butter and the milk and things like that, the visitors that had came to visit him in his camp. And she said, No, it wasn't me. I didn't laugh. And he said, Yes, you did. Okay. And so sometimes people have a strong discernment, whether they may not see you laughing physically, but they can discern from the Holy Spirit that you may have done a thing or said a thing. Okay. 16, and the men rose up from thence and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. 17, and the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham the thing which I do? So here is God sending an angel in his form to talk to Abraham. These were angels. Okay. Now don't ask me where they came from, because I don't know. But these were angels. Listen to what it says. 17, and the Lord said, Shall I, and the Lord said, this is the Lord talking to Abraham, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? So who was the only one could be able to do anything to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah? It was God. Okay, so he sent people to tell him through his mouth, and Abraham was responding to God through these men. Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. 19, for I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him, and they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment, that the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him. Verse 20 says, and the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous. So here's God coming in. He's going to destroy this place. I will go down now and see whether they have done according to these outcries, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. 22, and the men turned their faces from thence and went toward Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before the Lord. So the other two men, remember it was three. At the top of the hour, it was three men at the top of the chapter. So the other two men went on and started walking towards Sodom and Gomorrah. But the other one that was given the knowledge from God to Abraham, he stayed behind and continued to talk to Abraham. And Abraham drew near and said, Wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked? 24, peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city, wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 that are therein? 25, that be far from thee to do this type of manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. So here's Abraham questioning the Lord through this man. Is you going to slay the righteous with the wicked? Meaning Lot, his nephew, was the one that was in Sodom and Gomorrah, but everybody else was wicked. So that's how Noah got saved in the flood. Noah was not punished with the wicked. He was the one that was found perfect and upright in his heart. So that's the reason why God spared him, God saved him, and his sons and their wives and his wife. Okay? And that righteousness shall be as the wicked that be far from thee. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? Verse 25, but even though God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, he still made a way of escape for Lot. Okay? 26, and the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, I'm going to turn the page, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. So what he is saying is, I'm not anything, but look, I'm trying to speak to you. I'm trying to see if there is any righteous that can prevent my Lord from destroying the city, because that's how the cities back in the biblical times and today too. We just can't see them. We cannot see the invisible angels. But from times of old in the biblical times, the angels were released just like it was between Balaam. I don't know, was it Balaam or Balak? I think it was Balaam when he was going to another location and the donkey uh, was trying to go one way and he was trying to get him to go another way, and the donkey spoke out because the donkey saw the angel, but Balaam didn't. Okay. So there are still invisible angels that are doing work right now in the heart of the earth. We can't see them. We can see them if we get in the spirit, we can, but we cannot see them when we are in the natural. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city of for lack of 5? And he said, If I find there 45, I will not destroy it. And he spake unto him again, saying, If there be 40 found there, wilt thou destroy it for the 40's sake? Verse 30, and the Lord replied to him, said unto him, Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Peradventure, there shall be 30 found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. 31, and he said, Behold, now I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure, there, see, because he was trying to intercess and petition the Lord for the sake of his nephew Lot. Peradventure, there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. 32, and he said, Oh, let not the Lord be angry. I will speak yet but this once. So Abraham continued to repeat the same thing over and over and over to the Lord, but he was asking him, please don't be angry with me for continuing to ask you the same thing over and over and over. Peradventure, shall ye be found there? Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. Verse 33, and it says, And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham, and Abraham returned unto his place. So that's all of the scriptures, 33 in the 18th chapter of Genesis, King James Version. And of course, next week we will be on chapter 19. I kind of like to do it chapter by chapter to be able to bring you the understanding that the Holy Spirit gives me and that the Lord gives me, so we can be able to work and piece these scriptures out together. So that's all I have for today. I thank you so much for tuning in with me. Again, don't forget about Thursday. And then we'll also be in Memphis once again for the senior citizen. We're going to have a luncheon there at the Josephine K. Lewis Center. And for those, of course, that are listening through international media and through your phones and Facebook or what have you, just be in prayer for us. Even though I know that you cannot come, I know that you can't come from the Philippines or Asia or what have you and stuff, but just be in prayer for us. Pray, talk to the Lord and ask the Lord, said, look, just pray for her ministry, and not just mine, pray for other people's ministries too. Other people are going through, they're struggling in their ministries. People are going through in their minds. They're going through in their finances. They're going through in their health. We just want to begin to lift people up, lift them up to God. There is not one person that is better than the next one. I think it was Peter that went in there and asked God who was the greatest of the disciples, and he said the one that is found to be the servant. That's that's the greatest. So meaning there is no competition, nor there is any seniority in God. God does not have seniority, neither does he have competition with Christians and leaders and pastors, and he don't have no competition. He does not have no respect of person. He does not put one person in front of the other, even though there are other individuals that are out there that appear that they may be blessed and others are, well, they may be, but at the same time he loves us all equally. Okay, no matter who you are, where you come from, what country you live in, who your parents are, how far you went in school, what your grade average is, he does not care what our skin color is, our culture, our ethnic background. He still loves us. That's the reason why we have to get closer to him so we can be able to understand him even better. Okay, so we will see you next Tuesday. We're gonna do 8 o'clock. Okay, we're gonna say 8 o'clock, and then I'm gonna give you the number to the radio broadcast because we do video and we do radio as well. So I'll give you the number to it, and all the callers will be of course on mute on the radio station. Okay, so until next Tuesday, this is Pastor Diane Winbush, St. Petersburg Global Ministries for Morning Manna. Until then, we will see you again.